Hey there guys and girls, another video for you today. Now then, quite a lot of people have been asking me during my lifetime, oh, would you ever want to go to Japan? I get asked that a lot, and I mean a lot. I get asked by that so much, and it's because of those Japanese video games that I've been playing, you know, the JRPG ones like Final Fantasy and Mario and Devil May Cry, which is a Capcom series, because Capcom's a Japanese-owned company and Nintendo's a Japanese-owned company as well. And also, as you can tell, I'm into Legend of Zelda games as well. So, I do want to go to Japan, but my life just gets too busy and I just don't have the holiday to be able to do it. And it's where, the thing is though, is that I get sidetracked so much because just a little while ago, I went to Scotland, and yes, I do have videos on that. So it's like, you know. And there's a few things you have to mind out for when you go to Japan, because the thing with Japan is that obviously Japanese is a very hard language to master, because there's like Japanese kanji and you have to like learn the romaji, which is like the pronunciation behind it, and then you have to translate it into actual English. It's like 2 steps. You have to translate the kanji into romaji, and then you have to translate the romaji into English. Whereas with something like French or German, you have the pronunciation there already. So it's not in like symbols or anything beforehand. So that's one hard thing about the Japanese language. The second thing with Japan is that it's on something called the Ring of Fire, right? And it's where there's like volcano eruptions and earthquakes that can happen in Japan. And it's where I had this geography teacher who told me a long time ago, oh, the thing with being in Japan is that they have 2 or 3 earth tremors a day. And it's where people get so scared, especially the tourists, and it's where the Japanese people, you know, the locals, say, oh, that's normal. It's like, how can you be, like, you know, be in the middle of earth tremors and just think, oh yeah, that's normal. It's like, ah! You know, so that's the thing. Because another thing with Japan is that most of Japan's area is like mountainous. So most of the Japanese buildings are like built on the outside of Japan. So it's like the middle segments of Japan is like mountains, whereas the outside is like where the land is. So it's like, you know. And it's where I've heard that 75% of Japan consists of mountains and like little valleys and things like that. So that's another thing you have to mind out for. Oh, and it's where I have friends who's been to Japan before that came back. And it's where I've got quite a fair bit to say there. One of my friends said, oh, when you go to the Japanese toilets, there's like this hanya face and it projects out and starts singing to you while you're having a toilet, and it's like, that's like one of the funniest things ever. A lot of people would be like thinking, yeah, that's culture for you. And it's where they were like saying, oh well, I think I'd rather go to a normal toilet rather than go to one that sings to you while you're like doing your business. But you know, so there's that. But I personally think that hanya singing is just a funny thing rather than trying to freak people out. So I think that would actually be good. That would be good. Just like, you know, you gotta have funny things in your life. And it's where one of my other friends told me that the biggest problem being in Japan is that they put meat in a lot of their items. So if you are a vegetarian, you have to mind out, because you're not gonna be eating very many vegetarian things there, because they put like fish and chicken and beef and all that sort of thing and all kinds of their dinners. So, you know, it's just like, I think it's where someone had to suspend being a vegetarian when they were over there for a year and then came back. That's what someone told me anyway. I don't know if it's entirely true, but that's what they've said anyway. So, you know, but personally, I do eat some meats, just not all meats. So I can't eat fish, and I often eat eggs as well. So that wouldn't be too much of a problem while being in Japan. So, you know. Oh, and that's another thing. I have said this a few times on my channel, and it's where I have studied Japanese before, but only like level 1. So I do know small things like ohai gozaimasu, which means good morning, and arigato gozaimasu, which means thank you very much. You can also say arigato for short, but it's better to say arigato gozaimasu. So yeah. So I know small things like that. And I do know a few numbers like ichi, ni, san, shigo, roku, which is like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And it's where, for some reason, in Japan, they have two ways of saying 4. For some reason, in Japan, they say she as 4. But they have a second way of saying it because she means death, which is bad luck. So it's not good to say she. So, you know. I can't remember what the other word for 4 is, so I'll just put it at the bottom somewhere. So, yeah, that's another way of saying it. So, yeah. Back in Japanese level 1, we had to sit like these different exams. There were 4 of them. And there was one that I sat, which was the speaking one. And you had to spell the characters' names, right? And it's where I spelt the name Daisuke wrong. And I even pronounced it wrong. And it's where I said it as Daisuke, but it's actually Daisuke because it's a silent U. Kind of like how in English there's like knife and knife. So yeah, you have to mind out for names like Daisuke. There's also Asuka as well, which is Asuka. So yeah, there's also Asuka. But for some reason, in some video games, whenever there's a character called Asuka, sometimes they say it as Asuka, but not Asuka. But suddenly when you switch it to Japanese, they say it as Asuka. I don't get it. But I guess there's different ways to pronounce the name, I guess. But yeah. Another reason why a lot of people's been asking me, oh, would you ever want to go to Japan? Is because of those anime cartoon things that I've been making in my spare time. Like this one here. And it's where I've got a few of them on my channel. I'll put them in the description. But yeah, and it's where as you can tell, I really like anime. I don't like every single anime out there. There's a few animes I don't like, but I'm not going to say what off the top of my head. But one of the things I hate about animes is tsunderes. If you don't know what a tsundere is, it's usually a female character or a male character. And they just act really abusive and they just don't apologize. And I just hate characters like that. There was a couple of animes I totally turned away from because there was just no character development. Imagine having a character who's just really abusive towards other characters. And then they say afterwards, oh, I love you, oh, I love you. Yeah, you love someone by hitting them every day. Makes sense, doesn't it? But yeah, that's why in my Singing Tricks series, there's no tsunderes. They are banned. I am not putting tsunderes in my series. I'm not making them be abusive and then turn around and say, oh, forgive me. It's like, no, that's not how it should be. If you want to get forgiven for something, especially in reality, you have to stop it entirely. You can't just go around, go, okay, forgive me every 5 minutes. It doesn't work that way. But anyway, that's why I don't like tsunderes. I've not come across any tsunderes in reality. So I don't know who off the top of my head fits that description, but oh well. Oh, one of the things I definitely look forward to if I ever go to Japan is meeting Shigeru Miyamoto or Onuma, who are the 2 directors. I think the directors. They're like some of the heads behind Nintendo series like Legend of Zelda and Mario and things like that, right? So I'd love to meet them, but I don't think that'll ever happen. I think they live in Tokyo, I can't remember. There's also a guy at Capcom called Itsumo. I'd love to meet him as well, because he's the guy who invented Devil May Cry. And I really like Devil May Cry series. And now, please don't talk about that reboot, you know, that Emo May Cry game. That's nothing like the original series. And that's 99% not even made by Capcom anyway. It was made by Ninja Theory. So yeah. Now a lot of people have been saying, oh, I hate Devil May Cry 2. I personally think Devil May Cry 2 is not as bad as Emo May Cry. At least in Devil May Cry 2, they don't go around throwing their heads off every 5 minutes and just act nothing like the original series. Whereas in Emo May Cry, it was just like, well, what? Why is there like an emo kid? Well, he's like 18 or 19 years old, I can't remember. But I didn't even buy that Emo May Cry game. I'm glad that I didn't, because I ended up spending that money on Devil May Cry 5. And I even got that at half price anyway. So, so yeah. I think that's it. But yes, I would love to go to Japan, but I end up going to other places instead, like Scotland. I do have plans to want to go to London at some point this year. So, because there's a Comic-Con there, and I'm really hoping I get to go that one. I hope they don't cancel the event, because, you know, imagine waiting 2 months or even years for something and it doesn't even happen in the end. Yeah, that's going to be a big letdown. But yeah, I think that's it. So I think we'll round it off there. So I hope I've answered the question. So sorry for making this video so long, but there are like shorts versions that I'm going to be breaking it down into anyway. So, you know, so there's like a long version and there'll be shorts versions, but there you go. Thank you for watching the video. If you want to actually show your support, you may tick like, share, or subscribe to my channel. You can even do all three of them if you want to. So yeah, and with that, I'll end off the video. So thanks you for watching.